Hello everyone and welcome. It might be a bit strange to see me in the cafe with a Nespresso machine, but there's a good reason for it today, because we're going to take a look at these reusable and refillable Nespresso compatible pods by Capmesso. And in order to run a few tests, try a few different grind sizes, we will utilize some of the grinders that we have here in the shop. Now it's worth noting right away that the Capmesso is not meant to be used for years and years. It's not stainless steel like other models and versions that I've seen out there. It is, I believe, plastic. I'm opening it for the first time, but they do say that they can be used multiple times. There are 20 capsules and 20 lids, and they do say that 20 pieces can be used more than 200 times. So there is some reusability, but not as much as, say, if you got a stainless steel version. So yeah, they are plastic, but I can definitely see that they are much, much harder and thicker plastic than the regular Nespresso pods. What I'm not certain about yet is the lids, and if you can reuse the lids. They are meant to be resealable, so maybe you can use them more than once, but I imagine if you've punctured them in the machine, I don't know how that's possible, but I guess we'll find out. But I'll tell you why these interested me initially and why I didn't go for a steel capsule instead. You'll notice how similar these look to the Nespresso capsules. And I'd heard good things about them because they were able to replicate the size and function of Nespresso capsules much better than some of their competition. And I had heard about some of the other versions, like the stainless steel versions, being a little bit more difficult and finicky to fit in and to get to work. So I am curious to see if that compromise on sustainability is maybe worth the flavor quality. So let's get started. Now, the first thing I wanted to do was actually take an original Nespresso capsule, open it up, and transfer the coffee into a Capmesso capsule. This will help me get a decent idea of the grind size that I'm shooting for when I open up the Nespresso capsule, but I'm also really curious to see what effect this has when it's only the capsule that has changed. So I've brought a coffee with me that I am very familiar with, and this is the La Completa by Nespresso. This is a coffee I've done a review on. It's probably my favorite coffee of last year, so it'll be a good test to see how it tastes and how it changes when you use Capmesso. All right, so we've got the transferred capsule here, and it looks pretty good. It's pretty well sealed. The coffee is all packed in there. It was a little bit tight. I would say it feels a little bit smaller than the regular Nespresso capsule, but maybe that's just how tight the coffee normally is. But we're gonna give it a shot and see how it goes. All right, so that looked pretty close to what I would expect from the Nespresso capsule. Maybe a little bit quicker, but that's quite a promising start. Smells very good. Love this coffee. Let's give it a taste. Yeah, that's pretty much the same. So that's a really good start. It's a little bit more bitter, maybe just a touch more bitter, maybe because I had to pack that coffee in a little bit more than it was in the capsule, in the original capsule. But honestly, a very promising start. So if this is doing a good job at replicating Nespresso capsules, as long as we get our grind right for our other coffees that we want to use, this could be a very good way to get some nice coffees on the Nespresso. And of course, we don't want to forget to grab the pod from the tray because the whole point was that this is reusable. So make sure you don't forget it in there. And I think my hunch is right though, that you're gonna have to get more lids. I can't imagine that you can just keep reusing this same lid. So I'll be right back. I'll grab two different coffees that we have here at the roastery. I'll grind them up and we'll pull some shots and we'll see how it goes. And you can just see here, in order to get it close, on the left, sort of left half of my palm, you have the Nespresso capsule, and on the right we have our coffee that I ground to try and kind of match it up. Now, they're pretty close now at this point, but certainly it's not a true espresso grind. I had to go quite a few notches coarser, and you want to be careful of that when you're going to your local shop or if you're buying pre-ground. It's not going to be like a true espresso grind. It's going to be a little bit coarser, and I would make sure it's not. Make sure they know that it shouldn't be floury or kind of powdery. You should be able to pinch the grounds and kind of feel the individual ground pieces. But you can kind of see a reference here. It would be pretty fine for anything else. So again, just be clear with when you're getting these pre-ground. If you're going to your local specialty shop or if you're going to Starbucks, just be clear that you do need it ground pretty fine. Just not all the way to like a regular espresso machine. So I've got a couple coffees in front of me now, and they're pre-ground, ready to go. This one is going to be our early riser, which is Brazil and Guatemala. It's just a little bit more developed, a little bit darker as compared to some of our other offerings, so it should be a nice comparison to Nespresso, who usually goes a little bit dark. I've also got a coffee here that I'm really excited to try because it's from Honduras and it's a naturally processed coffee. It's just really fruity, really funky, really sweet, like strawberry ice cream. It's one of my favorite coffees that we have at the roastery, and I am curious to see how it works on Nespresso. I've always wanted to have lighter roasted coffees on Nespresso, and this is a perfect chance to do that. So we'll see how both turn out. I ground about 5 to 6 grams. I did weigh it out on the scale, but I mostly just wanted to be sure that I'm in the right ballpark. But to be honest, I think I'm just going to try to pack them in to the capsule like I was doing when I transferred from the La Completa. I'm just going to pack it in and get it nice and flat. And I think that should be fine as long as the grind is pretty similar. So I'm not going to stress too much about whether I'm right on 5 or 6 grams. So we'll go ahead and start with the darker coffee. I'm going to be using this cup as a transfer vessel. Even this small cup I don't really trust to be putting inside. I'm going to make a mess everywhere. So let's do it this way and we'll see how it goes. Okay, and that is our first capsule done. It's important before we just pull this shot to note that, of course, these are going by volume. So if this shot just rushes out, it may be that my grind is too coarse, or that I'm not using enough coffee. Of course, the other side of the spectrum is if I've gone too fine, or if I've used too much coffee and packed it in too tight, nothing might come out, and it might choke up the machine. So these are just things that you need to think about when you're doing this at home. If you've already got pre-ground coffee and it's set at this certain grind, you'll just have to play around with the amount of coffee that you're using and how tightly you're packing it if you are having issues with the coffee coming out too fast or too slow. But let's see what it does for me. Again, like I said, I've kind of packed it in there, a light tamp, not too heavy, basically flat with the top of the filter. So about probably 5 grams, I would say, in this capsule. So let's see how it goes. I don't know about you, but I really liked how that came out of the machine. It was a really good pace, similar to regular Nespresso capsules, just the right amount of volume, good crema on it as well. This is really fresh coffee, which is a benefit of buying these and using these capsules. You can use very fresh coffee. So let's try it out. Oh, really, to me, this is a dream come true because I know I've noted in the past on this channel that I just wish an espresso would go a little bit lighter, that they wouldn't go as dark. This is a great way for me to taste those kinds of coffees on Nespresso, and they taste awesome. So the machine is here, the mechanism is here. I love this ability to put my own coffee and my own flavor preferences, something that's not so dark, not so heavy, into a machine like this and get something that is so easy and so convenient at the same time. I mean, it is obviously, it's more watery and a little bit less body than a regular espresso machine. If you put this coffee on an espresso machine in our cafe, of course you're going to get something very different. And we all know that from watching my video on Nespresso versus espresso. But just getting this grind right and packing it in and how easy that was, this is a great way to still be able to support local and buy local and maybe even save some money. I don't know. You can reuse these pods. You can get the coffee ground locally at a specialty coffee shop and try other coffees that are not so dark or not so bitter, or just something that you've been interested in trying, but on an espresso machine. The possibilities with this are endless. So this is something I'm really excited about. I am loving this so far. Okay, so now having done all that, let's get to this really fruity coffee because it's a lighter roast, and I'm really curious if it's going to kind of be well extracted or well balanced, or if it's going to be overly acidic. Those are my fears with lighter roasts. I know that it can be more challenging to extract all those flavors from it. So let's see how it goes. All right, ready to go. Fingers crossed. And in we go. So looking pretty good with that shot. Now, this is good, very good. I finished it thinking about it, thinking of what I should say about this coffee because it's tasty, but it's not as full-flavored or as acidic and fruity and bright as I like from light roasted coffees. Maybe there's a couple things we could do with this to play around. I think there's tons of room to play around with this. I could grind finer if I wanted to sort of stretch out the shot a little bit, slow things down. I could pull the shot a little bit shorter. I could adjust the volume. I think that would help out light roasts a little bit, but I certainly think that you're gonna get the most balance and the most sweetness out of some darker roasts and some, well, even just medium roasts. You don't need to go dark. Some sort of medium roasts from local coffee shops that you enjoy. Okay, so what else is there to say? Well, do I enjoy the product? Yes, very much. I love the possibilities of using my own coffees in these and testing. I still, should probably test the reusability of them. If I can use each one of these 10, 20 times, that's great. I don't have to buy them too many times. The only downside, though, is these. I really would not be a fan of having to continually buy lids. So I think if there are products out there that are stainless steel that are going to produce similar qualities, I'd probably go for that. But I don't know if there's anything that sort of matches how similar these are in function and in shape to the regular Nespresso capsules, and I think that's what they've done really well. And of course, the other issue there is grind. If you have a machine at home, a grinder at home, that's great. You can kind of dial it in like I did and just get it close on the palm of your hand. But it's, I think, going to be a little bit more of a challenge for people if you're going to your local roaster or Starbucks or wherever you're going to ask them to grind the coffee for you. You just need to be really clear that you don't want something super fine and powdery, but you do need it to be still pretty fine, but a couple notches coarser than espresso. So that will be it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I want to hear from you guys too. Have you used reusable capsules for Nespresso? Have you used Capmesso or another brand? I'd really love to hear it in the comments below because maybe I can follow up and I can do some additional reviews with other capsules or other companies. Let me know what's worked for you. I'd love to hear it. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to hit that like button and subscribe for future content. I will see you all again in the next video. Have a great day.